What is your experience? If you've experienced Cracker Barrel, do you like this new look? Do you like the whole new environment? Can you imagine being a kid and growing up in Cracker Barrel? I hear certain people talk about, every Sunday we would go to Cracker Barrel.
Oh, yeah. We look forward to stopping at Cracker Barrel on many of our trips.
But this particular woman said she was going to Cracker Barrel since she was a kid.
Wow.
So what's that tell you about? They just took away her memory.
That's right.
They just took away her childhood friendly memory. And she said we'd go to Cracker Barrel after church with Grandma.
Yes.
You know, so
something very nostalgic about that has just been ripped away from people. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Steven and Kori and Get It Together. I'm Steven
and I'm Kori.
My sidekick.
And as we always tell you, we're here for you to give you information about life, marriage, parenting. And today we have a really special show. We're going to be talking about different topics because you know what? We've just got to be in our bonnet and we're sick and tired of seeing things and not being able to say it on the show. We're like, you know what? We're going to use our own show to talk about things we really want to talk about.
Yes, we're going to move a little bit more into some of the current events that are going on.
And some of this doesn't have to do anything with marriage, but it just in marriage we talk about this stuff. So maybe it does.
You know, the other thing is that there's a lot of shows out here. A lot of people telling you don't do this, don't do that. That's okay. So we're going to continue to tell you some of that. But one of the things we realize we really enjoy, and that is interviewing couples.
Yeah, we do.
We have a blast doing that. And in fact, we talk about that sometimes in our Pillow Talk. Now, Pillow Talk, if you've been married long enough, you know what Pillow Talk is. That's when a couple lays in the bed, nothing else going on but pillow talk.
Yeah,
right?
talking with your head on the pillow.
Right, talk with the head on the pillow.
Yeah.
We've been talking about, in our Pillow Talk, what we really, really love about doing this show. And one of the things we realized, we really love interviewing other couples. We've had some great shows with couples.
Go back and check out some of the other shows that we've had because we have had some really good interviews with some real fun and interesting lives,
couples,
marriages, and lifestyles.
We'll get into this a little bit later, but if you'd be interested in being featured on our show as a special guest, reach out to us at stevenandkori.com.
Yeah, and don't forget to subscribe to the show and also like and share and hit that notification bell so you'll always get our newest episodes.
Exactly.
Now, today, like I said, we're going to talk about different things. We're going to talk about, number one, about Cracker Barrel and what's going on with that company. And we're also talking about youth and vandalism and just respect for their parents. Yeah. So stay tuned for a good show coming up. So the next one we're talking about is Cracker Barrel.
Let's dive into this. Wow. Who out there knows? Raise your hand if you know what Cracker Barrel is.
Who loves Cracker Barrel? Let me tell you something. When we first discovered I'm going to tell you the story about my mother and my grandfather. Do you remember when they came to visit us?
I remember that.
After we had our 36-year-old daughter, 36 years ago when she was born, my mother and her dad came to visit us.
Yep.
And
she's from Connecticut, he's from New Jersey.
Yeah, and they drove down to Tennessee where we lived. And
the home of the state where Cracker Barrel was born.
Yeah. And so they came and they said, we went to this place. It was so good. It was called Cracker Barrel. We're like, yeah, it's good. Oh, my goodness.
I remember that.
It was so good. And my grandfather was just raging about it because he loved it. And so that is the emotion and the feeling that people get when they go into a Cracker Barrel. Right. It's cozy and it's almost like it's dingy and dusty, but I'm sitting in a barn. You almost feel like you're sitting in a barn and you're having a meal that just came out for the cow and came out of the chicken and the pig was just killed. You know, you're having the bacon,
farm
eggs.
Fresh.
Yeah, you have the bacon and eggs and you got some buttermilk pancakes. You know, it's like that's and you
corn
have
muffins
and grits, you know, and biscuits and gravy. It's so homey and warm, and it's not just the food, it's the environment. I want to go into the Cracker Barrel where it's older and the rocking chairs are older. You just feel, Steven's always said, I want a rocking chair on our front porch. We don't even have a front porch yet.
Like the ones at Cracker Barrel is what I would say.
We don't have a front porch yet, but he's like, I want a rocking chair on a porch. That's what I want. I want a Cracker Barrel rocking chair. He said forever. Because what's that tell you about a company that makes you feel that way? There's a feeling.
Ethos.
And the fact that they changed the logo.
Yeah, can you believe it?
They took the man off. Which the man is a farmer. He looks like a farmer.
Wasn't that Herschel? I mean, because one of the menu items is Uncle Herschel's breakfast. I think that might be Herschel sitting in the chair.
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
But I mean, think about it. He looks like he just finished working,
Yep.
and he's sitting in his chair, and he's sitting next to that's called a soap Cracker Barrel.
Right.
So it's like you just took away everything that means. The logo means something. So when you walk into the door, you're already expecting that logo environment. It's a wooden barrel. You know, it's got the slats on it,
Right.
and the chair has the slats on it. So you know everything was homemade. You just
Exactly.
feel warm. And now they got this white interior, and everything looks like it's
all
home,
bland.
Yeah, it looks like Home Goods for food. I
Yeah.
mean, and I love Home Goods, but I don't want to eat in Home Goods. I don't want my restaurant to look like Home Goods, but it does. It just looks, you know, all the clothes everything so bright. I don't want bright. Give me that old rustic barn.
Well, and how about all the little antiques that were on the wall? I think they pulled those off.
And they're like, that CEO,
Yeah.
that modern, monochronic, platinum blonde CEO has totally screwed up.
careful.
She's just totally screwed up Cracker Barrel. You know, I could see if she just looked like she belonged at a Cracker Barrel or something. Right. She doesn't even look like she belonged. I don't even know if she's ever eaten at a Cracker. She probably has had Cracker Barrel food, but who knows if it was brought into the company or did she actually go in? She probably went in. But still, my point is she might not have felt comfortable because she doesn't even seem like she could appreciate the whole warmness of it, the whole theme about it, the whole hominess about it.
Right.
Then she's saying, well, you know, some of our people, you know, I've had great feedback. Urban people, I don't give a rip about urban people. If urban people want to come to Cracker Barrel, then they got to know I'm coming to a country store. It says old country store. Make it look like an old country store.
We want to do this real quick. We want to roll a clip on what we're talking about. For some of you who may not have seen this.
Yeah.
Let's roll a clip real quick.
This week, the company announces it is scrapping the iconic Uncle Herschel logo, replacing it with a simplified version. Their CEO spoke with Good Morning America yesterday about the changes.
I think what's important is that we are listening to our guests. We're doing this all for them. What they've said is they love the new seating. We're adding in booths, making the chairs more comfortable, putting in new lighting, brightening up the paint color. But what's important is things that people love about Cracker Barrel, the soul of Cracker Barrel, is not changing.
Now, you see that? That's what I'm talking about. It doesn't even look homey. It looks like it's industrial. The bright lights up above, and the booths are so tight and hard. You know, before you sat in there and you sat in that chair and you sat back, and you didn't feel rushed. And even the little peg toy.
Game.
They've changed the peg toy. I mean, how do you change a peg toy? It's a toy, you know. It's just horrible. And then just the food.
I think she's a little upset about
I am
this.
so upset because
But I think I always say this one thing about Kori. She is like, it's an interesting point. Like, there's a very large dynamic here of the things that she likes almost always appeals to the masses. And
He's saying I'm average. Are you saying I'm average?
No, I'm saying to you that I think this is a really huge
It's
issue.
huge. Well, the stocks have plummeted.
Yeah,
Stocks,
they've lost over $250,000, people.
To this date. Who knows when this is filmed? Who knows? And who knows if she should be fired. I hope when this is filmed, by the time you guys see this, she's fired.
Yeah.
But the point is, when we want to know, what is your experience? If you've experienced Cracker Barrel, do you like this new look? Do you like the whole new environment? And also, I didn't grow up with Cracker Barrel. Did you?
No, it did not.
So, as an adult, I can appreciate it. I can't imagine the people who grew up with Cracker Barrel.
But we've spent a lot of time in Cracker
No,
Barrel.
I know, but what I'm saying is, can you imagine being a kid and growing up in Cracker Barrel?
Oh, yeah.
Going there every Sunday? I hear certain people talk about, every Sunday we would go to Cracker Barrel.
Oh, yeah. We look forward to stopping at Cracker Barrel on many of our trips.
But this particular woman said she was going to Cracker Barrel since she was a kid.
Wow.
So what's that tell you about? They just took away her memory.
That's right.
They just took away her childhood friendly memory. And she said we'd go to Cracker Barrel after church with Grandma.
Yes.
You know, so
something very nostalgic about that has just been ripped away from people.
And I'll tell you who's going to get all the business: Waffle House.
Waffle House
is going to get that business because
Waffle House hasn't changed. Now it's not glamorous in Waffle House, but they can make a breakfast.
Hold on, neither is Cracker Barrel.
Yeah,
it's not glamorous. It's
That's
just that you can shop. Think about all those people who were motor coach and RV people and campers, and they'd be traveling across the country, and they're like, "Let's go to Cracker Barrel," because you know what else you can get in there? You can get things for your camper. I mean, you can get home decor in Cracker Barrel. You can get unique Christmas gifts. I used to go in there and get Christmas ornaments. Gone.
I don't think she's happy about what.
No, I'm not. I'm not. And I like Cracker Barrel food, but I just won't eat it now. I'm just going to protest Cracker Barrel.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I love this because it's nationwide.
What do you think about them cleaning up the nation's capital? Moving on to another subject.
I want to stick on Cracker Barrel. No,
all right,
okay.
we can stay on that if you want.
No, let's talk about the youth vandalism because that's the next topic.
Oh, okay.
Youth vandalism. So we here in America are seeing a lot of, on the news, we're seeing the youth and how crazy they are right now. They're vandalizing places. It's
And
like,
by the way, hang on, this is a relevant topic for married couples.
yeah, because if you have the youth, youth have to have a parent. Yeah.
Right.
But the youth are vandalizing, and what they're saying that instead of them being gangs that are going into stores and just terrorizing the stores, tearing them apart, ripping food off the shelves, taking clothes and just throwing them around.
Yeah, just walking out
and
with
they
things.
think it's fun.
Right.
And you know what the youth are saying? We're
Right.
just having social gatherings. If this is how you socialize like a bunch of wild monkeys, then you need to, this is your parents. Your parents need to teach you better. And I put it on the parents because these are young adults. These are like 12, some of them are 13, 14.
That's ridiculous.
And so they can't get arrested, or they can't get...
They're minors, I guess.
Yeah, they're
still.
minors, yeah. So they can get taken off. They don't even go to juvenile court. They just, okay, don't do it again, slap on the wrist, and then go back
That's
home,
just
and then they hang out
dangerous.
again. It is, because you're going to get some store owners who won't put up with it.
Yeah.
And if the store owner shoots them or hits them, the store owner is in trouble for protecting his property, because you have these wild kids. And this youth vandalism is going on not just in stores, it's going on across cars, kids who are just hanging out in streets who are beating up adults.
Yeah, come on.
They're just bored, and they just start, I don't know what's in their heads. It's almost like it's a demonic force that's
absolutely.
over them, and they don't know what to do. An idle mind is a devil's workshop. So you got to get those kids back into something.
Yeah, you take control. You know,
Well,
the thing
get them
is,
back into sports, or get them back into youth programs, or YMCA, or Boys and Girls Club. But unfortunately, a lot of these inner cities, their budgets have been slashed because they're putting it towards all this DEI stuff or all this other things, and not the children.
Right.
And so the children are suffering. It's not just they're suffering in their education. They don't even know how to socialize. They don't even know how to have fun anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was a time we just went outside and played. And playing was not
what
hurting.
happened to riding your bike?
Yeah.
You know?
So playing was not hurting somebody. That wasn't playing.
Yeah, and it's
You know?
not funny. By the way.
No, these people are getting hurt. These adults and these other teenagers are getting hurt, getting beaten up by gangs. They're gangs, and they're called themselves the Crews. We're Crews. No.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're.
I haven't heard that one.
Oh, yeah. Judge Janine Pirro was talking about they call themselves crews in D.C.
Okay.
And she's like, they're not a crew, they're a gang.
Yeah.
But a crew sounds better than gang.
What happened to that group up in New York? The guy, Curtis Sliwa, I think was his name.
Yeah.
He had a group over there that they...
He did. He's running for mayor now.
Oh.
Yeah, so
wow.
I don't know.
I didn't even know he was still around.
I think that's who's. Yeah, he was running for mayor. Yeah, but I don't know what happened to that group. But they used to protect the subways and stuff. They were great.
Subways and everything.
Yeah.
That was really awesome.
It was. But again, what are we going to do with these youth people?
Yeah.
What do you do with them?
Yeah.
I mean,
who's responsible?
Yeah.
Who do you hold accountable?
Yeah, that's true. Who do you hold accountable? Because somebody has got to decide that they need to take account. Now, is it the parents?
Yeah.
Or is it the schools? Is it the city? Do you want the state? Do you want the government to hold you accountable for your children?
I want to visit that again. Should parents be responsible for their kids' actions? I think the answer is yes.
I would prefer to be responsible for my kids' actions, especially if they're young adults. People are saying, well, they have other siblings in the family and they're the bad ones. Well, guess what? Make them the example. If they're the bad ones, then you make them the example to the rest of the siblings. I don't care where stage they are. If they're the middle, oldest, youngest, you want to make sure, hey, you can't do this because your brothers and sisters are watching you.
Right.
And here's the other thing. Get them alone and spend some time with them and figure out what is wrong with you. You know?
But I do know that every now and then some parents do get a bad kid. I mean, the parents have literally done like whatever they have
okay,
to
so
do.
if that's the case, then maybe they should let that kid go into.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
If they can't handle it, then they need to let that child be disciplined in the
Because
right
on one
way.
hand, parents set the rules, right, and values and boundaries.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, teenagers, they do make their own choices. So where does that line fall?
Right.
I mean, you can't have it all, right?
Well, here's the debate. Some argue that parents should face penalties, fines, even jail time because they're supposed to know where their kids are.
Yeah, and that's true. But at 14 or 15, kids do know right from wrong. So shouldn't they be the ones facing the consequences? Otherwise, what are we teaching them? They don't have to face the consequences. What are we teaching them?
Exactly.
Because now you have these kids who say, well, Mom and Dad, if you don't let me do what I'm going to do, I'm going to go out and burn this building and you're going to be in trouble for it. It's like they hold you hostage, you know? Well, I don't care what I do. I know my parents will get in trouble for it. Because if they're bad kids, some people are going to say, there's no kid is ever bad. That's because you haven't had one.
Yeah.
That's because you haven't met one.
And by the
there
way,
are some kids that are just bad. And there are some kids that are not bad at all. They're just lost and confused. And a parent A parent should know their child. They should know that kid, no matter what I do, that is a bad kid.
Yeah.
And
Now,
they're gonna,
I wanted to speak to something because, I mean, we're baby boomers, so we grew up in this era where parents actually did discipline their kids.
we need to get back to that.
Yeah, we have to get back to that. And, right.
But it's a pattern that you need to break, because kids will control you, or you can control your own household.
That's right.
Because if they control you, they control the house.
And we see the breakdown of the families. That's why this is happening, and we're seeing all this youth vandalism take place because,
Mm-hmm.
again, there's a situation here where perhaps parents aren't doing their job. So, you know, we take this scenario, when a teen gets arrested for vandalism at midnight, should the parent get ticketed too? That's a big question. Or what if the parent sets a curfew for the kid and the kid just snuck out?
Yeah, exactly. And what about social media, guys? Parents can't monitor every TikTok trend.
Yeah.
Sometimes peers or online culture, that will pull a kid harder at a kid than a parent does. And that's the big problem. Friends have more influence over your teen than you do. So what are you going to do about that? How do you make sure that you have control over your teen and not the friends?
That's right.
It's about, again, building relationship too. Not just the discipline,
Right.
but it's about finding out what makes that kid tick. You know, what makes that kid turn on? And so delve into that. If your child is not in the Boys and Girls Club, the Y, a swimming class,
Youth group at church.
or a taekwondo or martial arts, any kind of crafts or sport or arts. If your teen or your young child is not in that, your young child, because by the time they're teens, then they'll love it and they'll want to keep doing it. And so you don't have to worry about them being out on the street.
Yeah.
But if your child is not in that, your child will be online looking at stuff
Yep.
and get caught up in all the other people online who are telling them and pulling at their interest in a different way than you can. And then you lose your child. So it's a matter of getting into that child's life and figuring out what do they love,
Yeah.
and honing that so that they get involved in that instead of getting caught off on the online stuff or the crews that hang out in the streets at night.
There's something called emotional and practical layering. Like, parents are already stretched thin at bills, work, stress, and then adding legal penalties might push the family over the edge.
Yeah,
Do you
and
think?
that's true. And plus, let's not forget teen brain science. Teen brain science is your child's not mature in their brain yet. So you're asking your mature child to live a life of a mature human, and they're not mature yet. So this can be another reason why they just go crazy, because they have too much freedom and too much accountability.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
the impulse control isn't fully developed until they're in their 20s, and that's a big factor. They don't have any kind of control over their complete brain, the way they think. And if you don't have something around them, maybe even you have someone else who they look up to. Maybe they don't feel comfortable talking to you about everything. That's
Exactly,
okay.
yeah.
But if you have someone that you trust and they look up to, ask that person, can you spend time with my son? Can you spend time with my daughter? We have a lot of single parents right now.
Yeah.
So
You
if
gotta
you're
take control back.
If you're a man and you're a single parent and you have daughters, find another woman out there that they can look up to and say, hey, can you spend time with my daughters?
Yes.
Same thing with men or women. If you're a single parent and you have sons, find someone that you look up to and say, can you spend time with my son?
Exactly.
Because they will find somebody to spend time with.
Yeah. So the question for you, our listeners out there,
If it were your child, what level of responsibility would you accept? Should parents pay the price, or should teens face it themselves? Think about that.
I mean, I think this is a very complex issue, very complex. And what we do know is this, that any time in any society when you see the degradation of families, we also see the degradation of a society.
Yeah, absolutely. We can't afford to let our children be disappointed in us because we don't take care of them.
Exactly.
How do we get these children not to become these 13, 14, 15-year-old vandals and a menace to society?
Right. And so we were circling back on the whole, conversation about what truly transpired with Cracker Barrel, and the fact that if you see this, the decisions probably have been made by the time this comes out, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And fortunately, well, you know what, though? They didn't even do it completely right, but at least they corrected it somewhat.
Well, yeah, exactly. Just like we said earlier on, we said by the time this episode runs, more than likely the decisions will have been made. There would have been some conversation, and we were exactly right.
Yeah.
It did not take long.
No, they lost, as you guys know, they lost over
$140
$145 million in stock. Yeah. So
Yeah.
they changed, but they didn't change completely because we love football, and we'll be talking about football a lot during this season. And we saw a commercial, and it was
Right.
Cracker Barrel, and they showed or Uncle Herschel on the logo.
Yep.
And they even showed the little toy, the peg toy.
Oh,
They
yeah, the
changed the
peg
peg
toy.
toy back, and they showed the syrup bottle that showed Uncle Herschel on it. And then at the very end, what did they do? They put that stupid new logo on.
But you
At
know,
the
you wanna
very
know
end.
something?
I'm thinking, are they trying to ease us back into that? But here's one thing they did do. They tried to silence their detractors.
Right.
Let's give them that, but we still want the new logo. No, guys, we like the barrel, we like the rocking chair, and I learned, we already talked about this before, but you guys remember we talked about what that all came from. You know, farmers had those soap crackers, I
Right,
think they were
yeah.
called, in the barrel. Anyway, I digress.
Anyway, so the point is that let's put a wrap on this, because the issue literally has, you would think it never happened. It's gone so quiet. It's not in the news cycle anymore.
Yeah.
But there are a few key things that we want to take away from this, and you think we should share with you as we look through this. We said, okay, so what are some life lessons that we can pull from this real scenario that really happened with a company that was started in America's heartland, in Tennessee, that kind of thing. So what we think is this: anybody can make a bad decision, a person, a company. And if we drill down to where we are right now, talking about situations in marriage, I think it's really important for us just to highlight the fact that even in your marriage, you can make a bad decision.
Yeah, that's
Right?
true. That's true.
And, at
But
the end,
what's the important thing? When you make the bad decision, correct it.
correct it. That's right.
Correct it. And so, yeah, the CEO, is she the CEO? What is she?
She's CEO.
She corrected.
New CEO, but I don't know if she's still there. I don't know if she's still there
But
or not.
here's the thing. She corrected it. But in a marriage, you correct it completely.
Yeah,
Because in
yeah.
a marriage, you're going to have your partner going, but I asked you never to say that word
Yep,
again.
right.
Well, I didn't say it that time. So
Exactly.
she didn't correct it completely. But as
Yeah.
long as you see that in life, you correct your mistakes, you correct your errors, and you
Absolutely.
and she was honest with it. I mean, they put the release out and said, we listen to our customers
Right.
and we understand what you want.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing: be transparent and honest in your mistakes.
And there's one other thing I think we can also highlight here. And it kind of reminds me back to one of the Bible stories, and that is, there truly is power in unity. A lot of people came together unified on this, saying,
Yeah.
you can't change this, right?
That's right,
And the
yeah.
voice was very loud. You remember the Bible story back about the Jericho? The walls came tumbling down. The people got together. The guy blew his trumpet, and they all marched around at the same time. And literally, like, the walls came tumbling down on this. So I just say there's power in unison, and we'll leave it there. Thank you, Cracker Barrel, for listening to all of your customers.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
So what we wanted to really get on is this other topic that we touched on
Yeah,
earlier.
we covered it earlier too. The youth vandalism.
Oh, my.
And how much that has been overtaking cities across America.
Yeah.
And when we spoke about it, we talked about how Janine Pirro, who is now the Attorney General, is she over DC?
I believe so. Yeah.
And so she has put
If
her
it's
foot
not that, it's something else equally as
She's
powerful.
over DC, yeah. And she put her foot down as far as saying, no, we can't have this anymore. As you guys heard, we talked about this. Well, update to that is that the National Guard was sent into DC, and it wasn't just for the youth vandalism, but it was for all of the crime,
Right.
because DC was so high in crime. And that's you guys for around the world, DC is our capital.
Yes.
It's where people come to see our history. So fortunately, the result right now is that DC has been cleaned up.
Yep.
The crime rate has dropped tremendously.
Incredible.
Tremendously. The death rates, I know this sounds crazy for us to be proud of that, but
Yes.
it's the National Guard came in, and our president put a task force together to clean up DC.
The thing is, the law is for the lawless. And the thing is that no one was holding these people accountable. And just the mere presence, of the National Guard being there.
People were so happy and
Oh my
thanking
gosh,
them.
they were just so thrilled.
And they were thanking them, saying, I can now go out to eat again. I can drive my car and feel safe. So what is happening now is
It's going to replicate the whole
they're
deal.
going to go to the next major crime city. And this crime per capita
Yes.
is Memphis,
Good word,
Tennessee.
per capita. That's good.
Crime per capita, thank you,
Yes.
is Memphis, Tennessee. And that they're getting ready to bring a task force in there to help clean it up.
Right.
So these are things that, and it's not just the youth. But here's the thing: once a youth sees an adult do something and get away with it, they're like, "Well, we can do it too."
Right.
And so, therefore, we do have these young adults, as we said before, that are sitting there twiddling their thumbs, and they'd rather be out there doing stuff that's not that's not legal, and it's not good, and it's not mentally healthy.
And the other thing is we have to help people understand that we're not afraid of them, right? People need to be held accountable if they want to break the law and harm others and steal, and all of these things are just not it's not civil. It's like not like we're animals here. And so we support holding people accountable. At the end of the day, it's very important, right?
So we wanted to share those little tidbits with you because we like to give you updates. Since you see the show, we wanted to come in here and say, by the way, this is what's going on now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll keep you updated on those things as well as other social things that happen in life.
That's
because like we said before, your marriage, your partnership, it breathes and it survives in life.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
all the little things that we do in life can create a harmonious marriage, or it can create a scary marriage, or any other type of marriage. So we want to keep you in the loop as to what's going on and how you can handle it in your own marriage. Remember, Steven said at the very beginning of that show is we had pillow talk, just talking to each other about life in general.
That's it.
And what those things what happens in life.
So we just wanted to update you guys, come back, and that you will watch this, share it with others. And always, again, you want to contact us on, what is it, Kori?
On our social media accounts under Get It Together Together or under Steven and Kori.
Yes.
Remember, subscribe, like, and make sure you share this with other people.
Sure.
Make sure you get notifications. Take care, everyone.